I've come across some information that I believe should be shared. MSNBC is going to do a interview with Lezley McFadden, the mother of Michael Brown, and basically it's going to give you some information on I guess where what she's been doing somewhat. It's going to talk about a book that she wrote in order to give a proper indication of Michael Brown, the person that he actually was, the family that he came from, etc. But one thing that she mentioned at the end of it troubles me, and I'm going to do a little bit more research on it and probably add it towards the as a commentary on the end of this video. And the part that really troubles me is the fact that they had an interim police chief in Ferguson after that racist ass motherfucker who basically covered for that rogue officer in more ways than one, stepped down, and then an interim police chief was appointed, and he was black. And he had a conversation with Mrs. McFadden and told her that when they appointed him to the position, he wanted to look into the Michael Brown files and the case, and they told him that he couldn't do it. Now, I don't know who told him what, and it probably had to be that bigoted mayor. He was the one who more than likely appointed him, so he would have been the one who would have told him that he could not look into the case. My problem with that is, where the hell was Eric Holder on all of that, as far as giving this guy the wherewithal to look into that case himself, since Eric Holder was the chief law enforcement officer for the United States. So anyway, I'm going to play this clip, and you can hear for yourself what she said the interim police chief told her, and then I'm going to do some research and attach it to the end of this video.
Joins me right now here in the studio, Lezley McFadden, the mother of Michael Brown. It's good to see you again. You look good.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming by. Your son shot to death by a police officer back in 2014, Ferguson, Missouri. We all know what happened in the aftermath. The widespread protests gave rise to the Black Lives Matter movement. The book that you wrote, and it's called Tell the Truth, Shame the Devil, The Life, Legacy, and Love of My Son Michael Brown. Why write the book now?
What better time than now to help people understand who Michael Brown was, his personality, his character, and the loving family that he came from.
Who should read that book?
Everybody.
Everybody. Moms, sons, fathers, everyone.
Police, prosecutors, governors.
What do you want folks to take away from it?
I want them to take away from the book what type of mother I was, have a better understanding of that, and who Michael Brown was.
We just showed a clip of Beyonce's video there. You were in that video, and as I understand it, it was also her mother, Beyonce's mom, that helped inspire you to a certain extent to get involved in this movement. Walk me through that. How did that come about?
It was a conversation me and her were having, and I was just telling her I want to do something, but I don't know what I could do to help and be of a support to other mothers. And she talked to me about MAD, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, and how that organization came together and raised, awareness on how often that happened. So when I went back to St. Louis, those thoughts were there, and I came up with Rainbow Mothers. And obviously I had been traveling, a lot of places and meeting a lot of mothers. But I wanted to do something for all races and all kinds of mothers. Because when you lose a child, no matter what color you are, that pain is there and it hurts. It doesn't go away. Exactly.
I was with you in Ferguson. We spent some time there, and I've seen you since then. As you know, on Monday, that city swore in its first police chief, a chief that looks like me and you. One of the big knocks down there was that you had a police force. A large part of that police force was white, and a large part of the community that they were policing was black or brown. Thoughts on the new police chief? Are you optimistic that he's the guy that's going to make a difference in that community?
You know, I'm hopeful for whomever they bring there, but we don't know. Time will tell. The last interim chief was a black man, and he's gone already. He said some things to me.
Things like what?
Things like that they wouldn't let him look at the file. He could.
All right, his name was Andre Anderson, and he came out of, I believe it was Arizona's, Glendale, Arizona, where he was a commander in that particular police department.
With the case, and he invited me to church with him.
Now I'm going to run this back again so that you can hear exactly what she said regarding the interim police chief.
He's the guy that's going to make a difference in that community.
You know, I'm hopeful for whomever they bring there, but we don't know. Time will tell. The last interim chief was a black man, and he's gone already. He said some things to me.
Things like what?
Things like that they wouldn't let him look at the file. He couldn't get involved with the case. And he invited me to church with him. He felt like that was the only thing that he could offer me.
Now, what kind of bullshit is that you got a police chief that can't look into a file? And again, the only person of authority who could have told him that would have been the mayor. And I got to be honest with you, I would have said, fuck that, I'm looking in the file, and if you want to fire me for looking in the file, you're going to have to fire me, because that's bullshit.
So I'm hoping for something different from this chief that has been sworn in and is hoping to come in and bring change and positivity to Ferguson.
Congratulations on the book. It's called Tell the Truth and Shame the Devil, and I hope a lot of folks read it. I plan on reading it as well. Good to see you. Listen, thank you. All
right, so just so that you know, that interim police chief's name, again, was Andre Anderson. He was hired by Ferguson in July of 2015, and his last day of service was December the 2nd, which is a full month ahead of what his 6-month contract called for. A 6-month contract, really. Okay. He basically, and I believe what she said, and I believe he left early because he did want to try to do some additional things, and he was being blocked, so he just said to hell with that and got his ass up out of there and was able to go back to Glendale, Arizona, and obtain his previous job. Now, this guy, I believe, wanted to do something because he took a pay cut in order to take that Ferguson job. He was formerly making $125,000 annually in Glendale, but Ferguson was going to pay him an annual salary of $104,000. So you don't take a reduction in pay unless you really, really want to come in and take a job and do a job. And he leaves a month early. No, something was going on with that, and he was getting blocked. Now, this new police chief doesn't have the strongest reputation coming, and he's coming out of, I believe it's Miami, Florida, and he was more of a public relations person within the Miami Police Department than anything else, and I think that's probably why Ferguson hired him, because they probably felt that they could work with him more on a public relations side in order to, I guess, attempt to get the reputation of the city, which I don't know how they're going to get that back, but to try to improve the reputation of the city. So we're going to see. We're going to see.